And friend of Ted Kennedy's in the Senate for over 30 years, Republican from Utah, Senator Orrin Hatch. Senator, you can help fill out these stories we've been hearing the past couple days about how Ted Kennedy was a friend first and a partisan second. Tell us about it.
Well, there's no question that he was the leading liberal spokesman in the Senate. We fought each other right from day one, but you know, after the fights, we'd always get together, and he'd say, "Well, how'd I do?" You know, and then he'd laugh, and he had the infectious sense of humor. He was a terrific human being, and we went through good times and we went through bad times together, and we're dear friends. I'm going to miss him terribly.
Mike Barnacle is with us from Hyannisport. He has a question. Mike?
Sure.
Hey, Senator, I don't want to talk to you about politics today. I want to talk to you about your singing voice and Senator Kennedy's singing voice and the two of you singing together. Tell me how that would work.
Well, at the Bobby Kennedy Foundation dinner out at Hickory Hill, I think it was, they got us both up there singing, and I got to say, Teddy was the biggest ham I've ever seen. It was embarrassing to me, but I got to admit, I turned out to be a big ham too. And we were both just lousy, and neither of us could carry a tune very well. I mean, I can carry a tune, but I have an awful voice. But we had a great time together, and they have a great picture of the two of us arm in arm singing for charity. And he loved to just break into song, and every once in a while, when he thought he couldn't get me on something, he would have one of his top staffers, Nick Littlefield, who used to sing on Broadway. He'd have him sing one of my songs, and I'd always start laughing at Nick. And it was he never missed a point of trying to influence people and trying to make friends. So it was a great friendship, and I've got to say that I'm going to miss him terribly. And I lived through that time when he called me out in California, I was, and told me that he was going to marry Vicki, and I was so happy about that, and she has made such a difference in his life. It's just wonderful.
Chris Matthews?
Senator, how much is, you know, I'm a student of the Senate. Obviously, I romanticize it perhaps too much. I grew up, in fact, I went and read it again. I read Advise Consent again a couple of months ago, and I love the book. Of course, there's a tragic Utah senator in there, Brigham Anderson, who's a very attractive guy, but he had a problem and got into trouble and committed suicide. But a very dramatic story about the Senate Club. Is the Senate you came into in 1977 like the Senate you're in now?
Well, not at all. It's much more partisan. Of course, when I came into the Senate, there were 62 Democrats and only 38 Republicans, and about 14 of the 38 Republicans were pretty liberal. So the left really controlled the whole place, and I have to say, you know, you just had to step lively the way they wanted you to as a conservative. But gradually over the years, it evolved into what really is quite partisan today. You had at least 12 conservatives that you could call conservatives on the Democratic side. We probably had about 12 liberals on our side, and it was much more balanced. Today, there's only one moderate, as I see it, real moderate, in the Democratic United States Senate, and on the Republican side, we've gone pretty conservative. We only have 2 liberals on the Republican side, as I can see it now, and naturally, there's a lot more combatants than I'd like to see.
Does staff get in the way? Are there too many staff in terms of too many experts around, too many people in blue suits, and not enough collegiality, or how would you describe it?
Well, I have to say that, you know, we have brilliant people, and a lot of these staff members go on to become great leaders themselves. One of the things that Teddy always had was a brilliant staff. He would attract people from Harvard, from Boston College, from MIT, you know, and they wanted to work with him, even though it was for less pay, because of the privilege of working with Ted Kennedy and on a lot of liberal issues. And you know, I think I have attracted a pretty darn good conservative staff over the years, and we've had a lot of push back and forth between us on how you do certain things. And when we agreed, you know, people would get out of the way, and they figured if Hatch and Kennedy can agree, anybody can. And we agreed on a lot of things. We passed a lot of landmark legislation over the 33 years I've been there, and he would have to come to the center, but he would do it. He'd get all the credit, I'd get all the blame, because the conservatives couldn't understand why I'd have anything to do with them. But a lot of the bills that we pass really are very, very solid bills that are even some center right. I'd have to move a little bit to the center too. But let me tell you something. He was willing to do it. And when he made up his mind to agree to something, he lived up to it. I can remember where we'd both have to vote down our own side's amendments in order to keep the deal that we'd made intact, and he would vote down amendments that he totally agreed with because he lived up to his word. That's something I really respect, and I really respected in Ted Kennedy. I think, the man was the greatest liberal senator of my tenure in the United States Senate.
All right, Senator Orrin Hatch, thank you so much. It's great hearing from you this morning.
Well, I'll miss him, and thanks for having me with you.
All right, and we'll talk to you soon. Coming up next.